Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast of your favorite team in the Bay Area. On today's episode, we're going to get you guys ready for the Vegas Golden Knight game tonight. So you're going to preview the Knights, look at their lines, and then look at some of the kind of big stats or key things for the Sharks as they head into this game against a Pacific Division foe. So all that and more on today's episode of Locked On Sharks.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm your host, JD Young, contributor at Fear the Fin and San Jose Hockey Now. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts, and of course, subscribe on YouTube as well, where you can see I'm wearing my Warriors shirt today. Go Warriors! But Sharks going to be facing off against bitter rival, the Vegas Golden Knights. We all know what happened at the end of last year as one Thomas Bordelot earned the nickname the Night Slayer, sending the, kind of putting the final nail in the coffin for the Vegas Golden Knights as they miss the playoffs. So we're going to get into kind of Vegas, how their offseason went and kind of lines, and then kind of the big storylines heading into this game for both teams. So let's get it started. So with the Sharks, the lines, I expect them to be kind of the same. We'll see about Nick Bonino, who of course missed last game with an injury. Just a quick reminder of how they lined up last game. So it was the Hurdle, Bearer, Banoff, Meyer line, of course. And then you had Couture playing with Noah Gregor, who slid in for Nick Bonino. And then Luke Cunnin, Svechnikovs, Nico Sturm, and Kevin LeBanc. And then the fourth line was Lindblom, Steven Lorentz, and Matt Nieto. Defensive pairs were Jacob Megna, Erik Karlsson, Vlasic, and Matt Benning, Ferraro, and Schimmick, and then Reimer started the last game. So I'm not sure who starts. We'll get into that here in a minute. I would assume Reimer starts coming off a shutout and, given the rest between. But either way, I mean, both goalies are coming off great performances. So, looking back, of course, James Reimer had his 3-0 shutout against the Flyers and was really awesome that game. But I was really impressed, as I talked about on yesterday's show, with Kaapo Kähkönen and how great he looked against the Devils, especially the onslaught that he faced. He faced 20 shots in the second period alone. And had expected goals in that game of 363, and he only let in 2 goals there. So we'll see. I'm really interested to see where David Quinn goes. Do you let Kaapo Kähkönen go in and try to continue to build on the confidence that he had from last game, or do you ride kind of the hot hand with James Reimer? But again, it's not like Kaapo Kähkönen played poorly. So we'll see. I know Quinn does kind of like to ride. He said he wants one of these guys to kind of take the throne or take the mantle of the starting net. And right now, Reimer does have that. But I wonder if Quinn will go back to Kaapo Kähkönen, especially out of how well he played on Saturday, and try to continue to build upon that. So, yes. Like I said, I don't expect much changes. We'll see if Nick Bonino comes back. If he does come back, I assume he'll slide in for Gregor, and there's a tinker in on that fourth line there or such. But I kind of expect that's what we'll see going into this game against the Golden Knights. As for our heated rivals to the east, so this is how they lined up so they're playing Monday night against the Maple Leafs. So if something happens, if like Eichel or somebody like gets hurt or something like that, like I'm sorry, I didn't want to wait for after the Vegas game to do a podcast. But here's how they lined up for today's game, Monday's game. Chandler Stevenson, Jack Eichel, Mark Stone. Eichel and Stone, of course, are amazing. Eichel, super duper star. Mark Stone, super duper star. Yeah, that's a pretty good top line. Riley Smith, William Karlsson, and Jonathan Marchessault. That's the second line. Mike Amadio, Brett Howden, and friend Phil Kessel. And then Will Carrier, Nicholas Waugh. Is it Waugh or Roy? We'll go with, I think it's actually Roy for him, but anyway. And then Keegan Colasar. Phil Kessel will be breaking the Ironman streak in this game with 990 games, consecutive games, which I think is a kind of a fun little parallel where Patrick Marleau set the most games played ever against Vegas in Vegas. And then now Phil Kessel setting the consecutive games played in San Jose. I just thought it was a kind of a neat little like crossover there, but good for Phil Kessel. I like Phil Kessel. He's fun. I know he helped destroy the Sharks back in the 2016, but we move on. So defensively, Alec Martinez, Alex Pietrangelo, Brady McNabb, Shea Theodore, Nicholas Haig, and Zach Whitecloud. And then I assume we'll see old friend Aiden Hill in net. Logan Thompson is starting the game against the Maple Leafs, so I assume they'll go with the goalies. Injury-wise, though, the Vegas, their normal guys are not much injuries. They do have a lot of guys on IR and LTIR. Shea Weber, of course, who they traded for in the offseason to add some of the LTIR cap relief. Robin Lehner is going to be out for the season. Nolan Patrick's probably going to be out. And that's a really sad story with him where his career might be done just because of concussions. And then Laurent Brossoit, goaltender, is also out. I think they're supposed to reevaluate him here soonish and see if he can start getting back out on the ice at some point. But so yeah, that's kind of where the Vegas stacks up right now and where with their line. So both teams, I think for the Sharks here, it's a good chance for them, especially with a couple days rest here and Vegas having to travel on the second night of a back-to-back. So it might be a good spot for the Sharks, but we'll dig into that here in a second. As for the standings, I know it's a little early, but we'll start digging into standings. Vegas, they'll have completed their 7th game by the time you probably hear this. Right now, they're 4-2-0 with 8 points, second in the Pacific. Sharks have miraculously climbed to 6th in the Pacific despite only winning 2 games with their 4 points. They're tied with Edmonton for 5th, which is really funny how early season goes, but so this is a big game for Vegas to try to, these are easy 2 points for them theoretically, especially as they're going to want to try to keep up with Calgary, who's going to have a couple games in hand on them already, but they're going to be tied for points. And for the Sharks, if you get 2 points here, you're somehow tied for 3rd in the Pacific. So, oh my God, early season point standing is really fun. So, before we get into some of the big storylines and kind of stuff to watch out for, let's take a quick break. Talk to you guys about our friends over at Athletic Greens. If you're like me, getting a little older now, you got to take care of yourself a little bit better. Or even if you're not getting older, you just want to take care of yourself in a super simple, easy way. Athletic Greens is the way to go. With it, 1 delicious scoop of their AG1. You pour it in your water, you shake it up, you drink it. Before you even have your morning coffee, you're good to go. You're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, and probiotics to help you start your day right. The special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, aging, all of these things. And with the founder, he wanted to take care of himself, but he didn't want to spend $100 a day on all the supplements he was getting. So that's the great thing about it. For less than $3 a day, again, it's 1 little scoop in your water. You drink it, you're good to go. You're investing in all-in-one nutritional insurance. I mean, what easier way to take care of yourself by drinking AG1 with the Athletic Greens. So, and to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL Network. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/NHL Network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. All right. What are kind of the big stories in here? And I wrote this for Fear the Fit. I did the preview for that and did some digging into the stats. And it's very interesting where we hear very much about the Sharks and their second period. And we know how bad the second period is. But the Sharks in the first period have actually been very, very good. Through their first 8 games here, they've actually outscored their opponents 7-1 in the first period. And the only time they given up a goal was the very first game of the season. Other than that, they have outscored. They're either been tied 0-0 or outscored their opponents in the first period. So the Sharks, they're good in the first period for some reason, but once it gets to the second period, the wheels fall apart. And this will be interesting with Vegas, right? Where I looked into Vegas's and how they break down their scoring. They're kind of the same way, where the first period is 9-2, where they've outscored their opponents through the first 6 games, not including what happened in tonight versus Toronto. But sorry, whoever can score in the first period might actually just win this game, because we've seen how the Sharks perform in the second period, being outscored. I think it's now 16-6 at the moment. So definitely, that's not good for them. And then last Sunday was the first time where the Sharks actually scored in the third period. But Vegas, though, is kind of in the same situation where they also have struggled kind of after that first period, where they're tied in the second period, but they've scored 4 goals and they've given up 4 goals. And then in the third period, they've actually only scored 4 goals and given up 5 goals. So this first period is going to be very, very key for both teams, where if the Sharks can get off to a good start, and, if they can, especially a Vegas team that's coming off back-to-back, had to fly, second day, et cetera, if you can kind of come out and put it to Vegas a little bit here, this might be your chance for them to be able to get a win against Vegas. And, if you get maybe up 2 goals, especially against Adin Hill, who we'll get to in a little bit, this could be a chance for the Sharks to get a win against the Vegas Golden Knights, who I know believe me, I'm on Team Tank, but winning against the Golden Knights always feels a little extra night, little good. So that's kind of going to be the Sharks' recipe for success. Get up on them early, make them just kind of throw in the white towel early, especially on a second night of a back-to-back. And then you hold on to that second period where the Sharks have been very bad, but it's not like Vegas is lighting up in the second period. And then kind of hopefully you can kind of park the bus in the third period and just hope to get out of there. So that's kind of going to be one of the big things there, is who can get off to a good start in the first period. And then kind of the next big thing for me I'm looking at is the goaltending. I mentioned Kaapo Kähkönen and James Reimer, how they're both playing well right now. Going into Monday, James Reimer was 3rd in the NHL with expected goals saved above expected at 5.4. So what that means is they, the analytics guys, they do their math. They look at expected goals, how they were if a goal was supposed to be, a shot was supposed to be a goal, how much of a goal, percentage of a goal would it be, et cetera, et cetera. And they look at how many goals James Reimer actually stopped. So he stopped 11 goals so far this season, or he's had 11 goals against him. His expected goals against is 16.36. So if he was if the math was 100% right every time, he would have given up 16.36 goals so far this year. So he is saving 5.4 goals more than expected. Kaapo Kähkönen, a little bit slower there. But again, going back to that last game against Saturday, where he was an onslaught by the Devils, who very, very good 5-on-5 team at getting shots on goal. They've had a little bit of puck luck issues where they haven't been scoring as much as they should have. And Mackenzie Blackwood has been, I know he was the 3rd star of the week, but then he has nights like Monday night where he gives up 4 goals in the second period type of thing. So a little bit up and down. If I was my career, I would be calling Tom Fitzgerald every day and asking him if he wants James Reimer, and continually doing that constantly until he finally gives in. But that's just me. So I think the Sharks should have an advantage in that, especially if Aiden Hill is starting for Vegas. We've seen, I think the Sharks know how to attack Aiden Hill, especially practicing against him every day. You shoot for the glove. We all know that. And we saw what happened. I know it's preseason, but the Sharks scored 7 on Aiden Hill in preseason, and Daniel Gushin had a hat trick. Like, if anybody's going to know where to shoot and attack on Aiden Hill, it's going to be the guys that were here last year and practice against him every day. So again, score. If you can get to Aiden Hill early, first period, try to sneak one past him early, try to get some shots on him early. That's the road for success for the Sharks there. And then kind of one other thing I talked about yesterday a little bit, and I wanted to dig into a little bit more, was the Erik Karlsson partners. So 8 games right now, Erik Karlsson has played with 3 guys for over 20 minutes. So Mario Ferraro, he's played for 44 minutes, Jacob Magna, 54 minutes, and Scott Harrington, 25 minutes. And Erik Karlsson right now is leading the team in goals and leading the team in points and tied with assists. So he has 3 goals, 3 assists for 6 points. Jacob Magna has actually been his best partner so far. So, I went on Money Puck and looked at, they do a nice job of kind of looking at your expected goals and all that fun stuff. In the 54 minutes that these 2 guys have played together, their expected goals are 57.4%, which is that's pretty good, right? You're more than half the expected goals are for you. So put that in comparison, the Karlsson Ferraro is at 44.8%, and the Harrington Karlsson pairing, which has played like 25 minutes, like I said, is at 36.4%. So we've seen a lot of these guys shuffling around and kind of mix matching. If we're going to play Magna, let's play Magna right now for a little bit. See if he can hold down the fort. But, I talked about Radim Shimmick, but the one guy I actually really, really want to see is Nick Cicek. And we saw last year how much Jacob Middleton really helped out Karlsson. We saw that pairing work really, really well together. And Cicek has a lot of the kind of the same qualities that Middleton has, where he's going to play very good, responsible defense. He's a little bit, he's kind of that little bit tougher guy, but he's going to play responsibly. He's going to be in the right position. So I know he's going to be a rookie. He's only played 1 year in the AHL, but I could see that partnership working really well with him. So let Magna kind of hold down right now until Cicek is ready. But by the end of the season, I want to see a nice sampling of the Cicek-Karlsson partnership and see if that might be something that the Shark can work with in the future. So before we get into kind of the other things I'm looking for this game and giving my predictions of what I think is going to happen, do want to let you guys know, of course, about Locked On Game to Game. You guys know, of course, Locked On Sharks. Thank you guys for making us your first listen. When you're done, go check out the Game to Game NHL. It's got every moment, every top performance, every result. Locked On Game to Game covers every game from across the NHL with local analysis from that only Locked On can deliver. So if you want a nice taste of what happened in the NHL last night, Locked On Game to Game's got you covered. It's all of us telling you exactly what happened from our team's perspective. So go follow Game to Game on Locked On NHL, available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get podcasts. All right, so Sharks, tough stretch here, right? So they're playing the Vegas, who's second in the Pacific right now. You're playing Toronto, who's, I know, a little bit slower start, but they're going to be a juggernaut. They're fine. And then you're playing Tampa, same thing, kind of a little bit slow start for them, but it's Tampa, right? They've been to the Stanley Cup 3 times in a row, and they won 2 of them. So big week here for the Sharks. So if you want to try to save your season a little bit, I think this is the game out of those 3 where you have a real potential of trying to steal this game, right? Especially with Vegas traveling. You're getting Aiden Hill, who's definitely not. We know what Aiden Hill is, so this is going to be the game for you to try to steal. So I want to, the Hurdle Bear Banoff Meyer line, as I talked about yesterday, they were awesome in the Flyers game, and I know all the Lions got outplayed on against the Devils. The Devils are going to do that right. That's what they're going to do. They're going to attack, and you won't see that as much though from Vegas, where I know previous iterations of Vegas has been all about shoot, attack, and they haven't really been able to kind of get that style of play going. They're actually right now, so their shot attempts. So at 5-on-5 even strength, they're actually 19th in the league at 49.48%. So they're actually getting outshot most of the time on most nights. It's barely, but they're actually getting outshot most nights. Sharks are at 45.92, so they're getting pretty outshot most nights. But expected goals, though, the Vegas, that's where they kind of make up for it. So they're not taking a lot of shots, but they're getting really high quality shots at that 56. They're at 56% for their expected goals. Again, the Sharks 27th at 45%. So Vegas, they're not going to take a lot of shots, but they're going to take those really high quality shots. So I think if you can limit them from getting those quality shots in the slot right in front, try to make either Reimer or Kapokakinen night easier, and then try to get some pressure on Aiden Hill. I know the Sharks don't shoot a lot, but you know exactly where to shoot on Aiden Hill, right? That glove hand, it's still not as quick as we like to see it, as I'm sure, well, not we anymore, but it's not as quick as I think he would like. So that's going to be the kind of the big point for the Sharks there, is limit those high danger chances from Vegas and make them work for the goals. So when it comes to actual, the special teams, Vegas, their power play has struggled last year. It was actually one of the few power plays that was worse than the Sharks last year, thanks Steve Spott. But they haven't really gotten off to a great start this year as well either. I think they're looking at the rankings. They are pretty low down there. Sorry, they are at they're at 17.4%, so it's kind of middle of the pack for them. Sharks are at 8% still with their power play. So, and then the PKs for both our squads are pretty good. So, actually, sorry, the PK for Vegas, bad right now. Sorry, scratch that. PK for Vegas, bad. They're at under 70%. So, this could be a game where the Sharks power play could hopefully maybe start to get things together. Sharks PK, of course, at 96%. But yeah, the Vegas PK, 68.8% going before Monday's game. So I really, really, really hope that this is the game where we finally get a little bit of power play opportunity for the Sharks to really trying to kind of do something. So with all that being said, I still think Vegas wins. So I know it's the second night of back-to-back, and the roadmap is there for the Sharks to win this game, right? If you can have a strong first period, if you can get your power play going against a very, very poor, at least poor to start the season, penalty kill for Vegas, you put it on them early, and then hopefully they kind of just wave the white flag and, live to fight another day, especially on the second day of a back-to-back. This could be a game where the Sharks could sneak one out, but Sharks, they played a bunch of games on the East Coast. They just got back. Their power play hasn't really been clicking. I know Timo Meier and Hurdle, they're really close, really close to scoring, but I think Vegas wins this one and 3-1. I will give Timo Meier. I'm going to keep picking Timo Meier to score a goal until he actually scores a goal. So we'll say Timo Meier scores one goal, gets off the schneid here, and hopefully we'll start to see some more Timo Meier goals start to pour in. But I think Vegas, those top, that Eichel Stone line, I think they're going to have themselves a pretty good night. And I know Aiden Hill is Aiden Hill, but the defense in front of him is much better than what the Sharks defense has been in the past couple of years. So I got Vegas winning this one 3-1, and the Sharks climbing back into the tank there. So yes, so that'll do it for me tonight. Now that you guys are done, check this out. Go check out, after you check out the Game to Game, go check out the Locked On Sports Today podcast. So you listen to me. I made a bunch of excellent points. Now go check it out on Locked On Sports podcast. They cover the biggest stories of the day, plus instant reactions, big game recaps, and the take of the day, available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. You could, of course, follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Locked On Sharks. I'm going to be clipping, of course, for you guys. So all the highlights, all that fun stuff. And then Wednesday night, got the Barracuda. Thursday night, we got the Maple Leafs. Friday night, we got another Barracuda game. So big week for the Sharks here right now. And then we got doubleheader on Saturday, which I will be at both games on Saturday. So I'm going to be, doing the doubleheader on Saturday. So no clips on the social, but I will actually be there in person. So, you can listen wherever you get podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Odyssey, you name it. If you're on Apple, leave a 5-star review. YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube right now and you haven't subscribed, you're hurting me personally, so please go subscribe. And you can follow me on Twitter at myfryhole. Be back tomorrow with a recap of the Vegas game. And then, of course, we'll get you guys ready for the Maple Leafs game. Maybe we'll talk a little CUDA in there as well at some point. So, yeah, I think you guys enjoy the CUDA stuff. So we'll try to get more CUDA in there. If you want me to talk more CUDA, let me know. Let me know, YouTube, Twitter, wherever. If you guys want me to talk more CUDA, I'll be more happy to talk more CUDA. The CUDA are fun. So until tomorrow, bye, friends.